Hey beautiful people, Ryan Hamer here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be talking about the direct dispute method. And the direct dispute method is when you actually forget Equifax, forget TransUnion, you're not going to be contacting them. You are going to be contacting the furnisher of the derogatory information that's on your credit bureau report. So that can be the cell phone company, that can be the collection agency, that can be the bank, that can be whomever specifically has put something on your credit bureau report that is negatively reflecting on your credit bureau report. So when we say the direct dispute method, I am going to reiterate that. That means you're not going to contact Equifax. You're not calling Equifax. You're not writing Equifax. You're going to be contacting directly the bank or the cell phone company. And when you contact them, you're going to be inquiring as to whether the debt that is being reported, whether that's actually yours. You want confirmation. You want to actually dispute it. You want to say that, you have no recollection of this particular item. And if it is proven that it is yours, then you want to know if you can work something out. Can I make a partial payment? Can I make a full payment? Can I pay you in exchange for removing it? And we've talked previously about pay for delete. So if you initiate a pay for delete method, utilizing the direct in conjunction with the direct dispute method, you might have a chance of getting the debt off of your credit bureau report. Or you can reduce the amount that's owing. Sometimes creditors are willing to work with you depending on your approach. And remember how I said there's a difference between owned debt and contingency debt? So if you contact the creditor, like we're talking about a collection agency now, if you contact the collection agency and they are the ones that own the debt, they have the flexibility of being able to remove something from your credit bureau report. Don't listen, I don't care what they say. When they say, oh no, we can't do that, they have flexibility with respect to being able to remove something off of your credit bureau report. Because never mind what they say, oh, it's the law, blah, 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 blah. Mistakes happen. And they are able to afford themselves a little bit of discretionary flexibility with regards to removing something off of your credit bureau report should a situation be palatable for them. So that's something that you have to negotiate. That's something that you have to discuss with them. Hopefully they have the flexibility to be able to do that. And the reason why we want to go directly to the creditors instead of going to the collection agencies is because the collection agencies, they are limited with regards to the capacity of what they can remove and what they can't. Unless you go to the credit bureau with documentation saying, look, this is the police report I filed. This is identity theft. This debt is not mine. My credit card was stolen on this date, and this is the documentation proving that it was stolen. I had no use of it, and these charges are fraudulent. And that's a different story. Then they are obligated to remove items without contacting the initial creditor or what have you, because you got documentation, right? They have an obligation. Once you say identity theft and fraud and stuff like that, because remember, they're not a government organization. They are a third-party, for-profit business. A lot of people seem to forget that the credit bureaus are a for-profit entity. They have paid relationships with creditors who pay them on a monthly basis, to be able to access their data banks. They are able to provide backdoor access with which they can use to update files and things of the sort. So remember, these for-profit entities have relationships with some of these other creditors that you may be dealing with. So a lot of times there's confusion with respect to, people ask me, well, Ryan, why isn't Equifax doing this or why isn't Equifax doing that? Equifax has a duty of care to maintain your file, not necessarily updated, and we know that there is a very high percentage of inaccurate information on your credit bureau report at any point in time. So there can be inaccurate information, and it's up to you. The duty is upon you, the consumer, you, the person who owns the credit bureau report, to make sure that your information is factual, right? So when you contact a third-party collections or another party that's not Equifax, that is not TransUnion, there are different modes of attack, right? You can go on, you can behave, you can be loud. You can call them up and be ranting and raving and shouting and curse people out and stuff like that, which of course never works, rarely works, right? Because they can just hang up on you or say that you're being abusive or what have you. You can go in with facts. You can go in with facts. Okay, you know when the debt was put there, and if you want to assume ownership of the debt, and you want to say, hey, look, I owe this debt, blah, 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 but I've always told you guys, you want to be careful with regards to what you say, because normally they record those conversations and they can use it against you and stuff like that. And if you admit to owning the debt, sometimes that can be an issue for you too, because what that does is that obligates ownership of the debt, and they can reset the clock. So when we talk about the statute of limitations, there is a statute of limitations in Ontario here. It is 2 years if they have not sued you for said debt. Then if you acknowledge and admit that you owe or own that debt, then they will that can reset the clock, so they can come after you. So you have to be very careful with regards to how you approach this. So sometimes though, it does work in your favor if you just have a conversation, and sometimes you get somebody who's nice or what have you, and you have a conversation with them rather, and you find out what is it that we can do to have the item removed from my credit bureau report. Is there a way that I can reestablish a relationship with you guys once I pay it off in full? How far gone is the debt? Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? Is it 120 days? Right? These are questions that you need to know maybe going into the situation, because it determines your approach with regards to how to speak to the particular creditor. What are they offering you? Are they saying that we'll give you, we'll cut it in half at 50%, 30%, 40%? You know, and why is it beneficial for you to contact the creditor directly? It's beneficial for you to contact the creditor directly because sometimes they have that kind of leeway where they can actually legitimately remove the item from your credit bureau report. They don't have to give Equifax or TransUnion a reason as to why the item is being removed. They internally have a bunch of different codes that they can use when they request something to be removed. They can just simply say, I want it out for whatever reason, right? Because at the end of the day, they want to get paid, especially if they own the debt. Right? If they own the debt, then they're willing to remove it or what have you. So now this direct dispute method, it does not always work. I am not going to be responsible for you saying, hey, Ryan said that, I can fix my credit completely 100%, 99.9% of the time using this direct dispute method. No. But it is possible with some creditors, if you contact them directly and you're able to work it, and you're able to negotiate with them, if you get a good person on the other end, it depends on the stranglehold that they have on the debt with regards to whether they own it or not. Sometimes it works with the banks, not always. Sometimes it works depending on the specific debt and depending on who that creditor it is that you're contacting, whether it's a collection agency or whether it's the company directly. If they still want your business, they might flex with you, they might work with you. Maybe they scared you enough just by putting it on your credit bureau report that they're willing to come back and actually work with you. But at the end of the day, there is no obligation. There's no obligatory rule of any creditor to remove an item from your credit bureau report simply because you ask. But you have to ask. You have to try and work it. It's a matter of working the middle. So I hope that you found some value out of this video. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And please feel free to check out one of my other videos, okay? And if you have any questions, or if you have any concerns, or if anything in this video I've said has resonated with you, please feel free to tell me what jumped out at you in the comments. Please feel free to leave a comment and tell me what sorts of things have you tried. Have you tried the direct dispute method? How did that work out for you? And what were some of the issues that you had? All right, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. Again, my name is Ryan Hamer, and I appreciate you. Have a good one.